Hey everybody. So, I was just thinking about the movie The Miracle Worker and what it can teach us all. What are the lessons of the miracle worker? Now, if you don't know the movie The Miracle Worker, it's a movie about Helen Keller. Helen Keller was a woman born deaf, blind, and mute. So this is a child locked inside her body, seemingly. She was in a fairly well-to-do family, if I remember correctly. And they didn't know what to do with her. She was literally like a wild animal within the home because she was never given guidance or any sort of discipline. Now, when I say discipline, a lot of people would say, oh, how could you discipline a poor child like that? She can't help it. How in the hell could you expect a child who can't see, can't talk, and can't hear to be disciplined? One of the scenes in the movie shows the family gathered around the table. They all have their plates of food. And the method that Helen Keller ate when she was a child was to simply go around and grab food off of everyone's plate and shove it into her mouth as she's doing so. Can you imagine living like that? Now, of course, the parents, they feel sorry for her. What else are they going to do? Now, there wasn't a lot of psychology back in these days when Helen was coming up, right? But here comes someone called Annie Sullivan. Thank God for Annie Sullivan and for any Annie Sullivans that come into your life. Who is Annie Sullivan and what's her trip? Annie Sullivan is someone who faced some of the difficulties that Helen had. Only she actually had a far worse condition. She was brought up in an orphanage filled with rats and unbearable conditions, etc., etc. Yet somehow, there she is out in life doing things and living successfully. And so Annie Sullivan, gets the agreement from Helen Keller's parents to take her someplace alone so that basically she can retrain this child how to be civil, how to communicate, and how to function in the damn world. I gotta say, when I saw that movie a million years ago, I didn't know how much it would apply to my own life, right? And let's see, I'm 63, I'm almost 64. But I believe I wasn't, I don't know how, maybe I was 62, 60, whatever, very recently. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I must have seen that movie when I was 10, 11, 12, the first time. I'm sure I saw it again, but it hit me. There were some people in my life, children and maybe others, and I realized I was doing things for them or accepting behavior because I felt sorry for them. They had terrible traumatic childhoods, for instance. They had bad things happen to them. They had a disease. They had a violent crime committed against them. Whatever the situation or the experience, what do we do with people? Well, naturally, we have compassion for them. But oftentimes, not always, but oftentimes, as was in my case, I developed what I've only recently heard called suicidal empathy. Oh shit. I'm also killing myself with this need to fix other people and their behaviors or circumstances based on their victimhood. So Annie Sullivan gets Helen for an amount of time. She teaches her to sign. She teaches her to read Braille. She teaches her to take care of her body. She teaches her to eat properly. How is that possible? I mean, the poor victim. How could she possibly do these things? Poor thing, we need to take care of her. Poor thing, we need to excuse this poor behavior. She can't help it. Don't you know the kind of trauma she's faced? How many of us do this? I know I did. Super guilty, right? Right. And so the bottom line on this is, if you're doing things for people because you feel sorry for them, and let's face facts, I'm particularly talking about children, or what this leads into then, adult children who have serious issues based on a feeling of unworthiness, self-loathing, victimhood, etc., etc., etc. So, if I'm reinforcing that by continually allowing misbehavior, being around just all the negativity that comes from being locked into victimhood, like it's your proud flag, I got news for you. Please go around the world and find me the handful of people, if they exist, who have not been traumatized by, I mean, most people have been highly traumatized. You know, there are obviously very extreme examples of trauma, and there are subtle examples of trauma. Either way, it doesn't matter. I've got my creds as a, survivor of various traumatic events, things like that. So getting back to, what do we do when we treat people, maybe no matter, they're real victims. They're victims of something. They're victims of violence or abuse or just the misfortune of being, like Helen, born, being unable to see, hear, or speak. It frightened me to think, what would I do or how would I react if I were her parent? And I realized, and this was me at my 60-ish, right, just a couple years ago, I realized, holy shit, right now, I probably would have been just like Helen Keller's parents. And what would Helen Keller be like if at 28, 30, 35, she continued to be allowed, encouraged, and neglected into continuing that behavior? And I say neglected because her parents, or you or me, neglected the child or the person. It could be a spouse, a friend, a child. We neglected to tell them and to show them and to teach them how to be responsible for themselves, despite whatever happened to them, despite victimhood, circumstances, etc. Within the reasonable realms of possibility, of course. I don't think somebody, born without two arms is going to become an armed weightlifter. I don't know, but you get my point, within reason. And this is the big takeaway for me, that I burn into my brain. It's one of those things I keep with me all the time so I remember. When you do these things, when you allow behavior that's unacceptable, harmful, abusive from someone who has been abused, and that's the reason for poor behavior, you're telling them, I don't believe in you. I don't think you're capable of anything else. I think this is the best we can expect from you. Think about that. Think about that your actions are saying that to your child, whether it's a child still living in your home or a child that's in their 40s, 50s, or 60s. It doesn't matter. You're always saying, you can't do it. I'm really pissed because you're behaving this way, but obviously you can't do it. I'll keep trying to fix that for you. You'll keep believing that you're nothing because, get ready for this, parents, you have taught them that they're incapable. You have taught them that they don't have the power to do whatever it is they need to do to be a functioning human being. So there's my rant about the miracle worker. I think maybe I'll watch it again, but it's really something to think about. We do it to other people, and we do it to ourselves. We need more Annie Sullivans in this world, no doubt. Bye, and peace.